What's up and what's happening, Auburn fans? Welcome into another Auburn Primetime Live. It's a Tuesday night and 7 o'clock Central Time. Here we are, baby. The Auburn Tigers 2025 football schedule. And we're going to take a look at it tonight. And we're going to predict the dang thing. And I like it. I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. Thank each and every one of you for joining in the comments. Brett and Miss Karen getting it going early. I love it. I love it. Look, I decided to do this tonight because I want to go ahead and get out in front of it. I do. I'm getting the notes from fall camp. All right. I feel like we're hearing the same stuff. I feel like we're hearing the same dudes. They're showing out. Jared Smith gets a little. He gets a little beat up and banged up. He's dealing with a little injury. They don't know the severity of it. But you keep hearing Jordan Crawford, Malik Autry. You keep hearing these young dudes like Elijah Melendez and all these cats. And I'm like, hey, it's the same people over and over and over. Like we're hearing the same names, folks. Omar, Perry, you're right, Brett, 100%. Let's get Brett in here real quick. Show that on the screen. Omar Mapson, a guy that reclassified. He's still supposed to be at Auburn High. You're hearing these cats over and over and over again. Horatio Fields coming in, making some plays down the field. And that's the reason the other night I said I feel like Auburn is in a really good position, and it's a much better position than they've been in since COVID. Like, I feel like Auburn has a lot of cohesiveness with this roster, and it's a glue roster. They didn't come into this fall camp having to stitch things together and put the certain pieces into the puzzle. And no, this thing, it was already put together and you kind of knew what you had going into it. And so I wasn't going to get on here tonight and be like, oh, well, here's the same repetitive story from the other 15 Auburn podcasts. Like, I'm going to hit you with this. No, dang it. Let's get in here and predict the dang schedule, man. Let's get in here and have some fun with it tonight because I look at this and you know, last year when I did it with Dustin and I went back and forth of like, man, Auburn 8-4. I really thought Auburn was going to go 8-4, and I kept just pounding 8-4, 8-4, 8-4. Realistically, y'all, Auburn should have went 8-4 last year. When we look at it, we break it all down. You look at those games last year. Yes, we should have went 8-4. But we didn't because we didn't know how to win football games. We didn't know how to make plays late in football games to close games out. And we had a little we had some hiccups on the staff. Like we had some coaching that didn't go our way, and we had a guy that looked extremely stressed out at the helm. And I just get different vibes this year. I get different vibes just looking at the press conferences, hearing Keldrick Falk speak, hearing Jackson Arnold speak, hearing Hugh Freeze speak. I get different vibes. So let's jump right in here and let's look at this schedule. We obviously know that we have Baylor in a couple weeks. We've talked about it at nauseum, right? Like we've went over and over about Baylor. I gave y'all what Athlon thinks about it. I dropped that this morning. I think if Athlon had to throw a number out there, they're taking Auburn. I really do. I think if Athlon had to throw a number out there, they're taking Auburn. Just because they have Baylor picked to finish 5th in the Big 12, and I think Athlon was basically looking at it like I broke down the front end of Baylor's schedule, and if they lose that Auburn game, there's a slight chance that they could potentially fall and fall hard with SMU and Arizona State, and then a couple weeks later you got Kansas State. Like that is a ridiculously tough opening stretch to your schedule, but Auburn faces the same issue, right? So at Baylor, week 1, I'll go ahead and give you my my pick, and I'll do an episode on it and all this stuff. I'm not going to tell you a score, but Auburn wins the football game. I know there were some people in the comments this morning dropping their scores, and I liked it. I liked seeing the 31-17s, and you know, if we hold Baylor to 17 points, man, I think you're coming back from Waco, Texas, and you were ecstatic through the roof about this Auburn football team. If you give up 17 points at Baylor, man, you got to feel good about yourself. I think this team's trajectory could be through the roof if you come back with only giving up 17 to this offense. So I think Auburn beats Baylor to start 1-0. All right. Ball State, week 2, at home, dub. And now, one thing I do want to say this, and I talked a little bit about it in the episode I dropped this morning. If you go to Baylor and win, and you come back for Ball State at Jordan-Hare Stadium, you're going to be ranked. And you're going to give the fans in the season home opener at Jordan-Hare at night, you're going to give them a ranked Auburn team? Y'all, that's massive. Come on. That's massive. Like, what would this fan base, how would we react? I don't care if it's Ball State. That place is going to be electric. That place is going to be on fire. And each and every one of you are going to be just killing it to get there. Because that Jordan-Hare Stadium is going to be absolutely electric. I've said it 1,000 times. I do not care that it's Ball State. If you give me a ranked Auburn team in week 2 at Jordan-Hare Stadium under the lights, come on, man. Come on. Auburn, 2-0. All right, Auburn 2-0. You got South Alabama week 3. Look, I'm from Mobile. I hear all the South stuff. They lost their starting quarterback from a year ago. They had a guy transfer in. I think they got some playmakers, man. They lost Fluff. He transferred to Mississippi State. They're running back, but they got another cat that can run it. But I just don't think they're going to have the weapons at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn 3-0, y'all. Auburn 3-0. Now, at Oklahoma, let me tell you something about this one. Everybody's high on Oklahoma, y'all. Everybody is high on Oklahoma. And, I think you have every right to be. They got a defensive-minded head coach in BV, and they go out and they get John Mateer and the offensive coordinator, and that's great. John Mateer threw it around, and, they're expecting a high-quality offense out there at Oklahoma, something that they didn't have last year. And they had our guy out there with Jackson Arnold, and, you all know how that went. I don't have to keep repeating it. And I'm not sold 100% on John Mateer is going to come into the Southeastern Conference and just dominate. I really, really don't know. Like, Oklahoma is a question mark. And if we were doing toss or balls toss and loss, like, yes, this is a question mark game for Auburn. This is a question mark game, but everybody's worried about Jackson Arnold going back to Oklahoma. Like, I don't think this is the spot you lose. I don't think you lose to Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold is going to be just fine. He's played there. He's played in hostile environments. Yes, Oklahoma, they do have a good defense. But I don't think you lose that game. I don't. I really, really don't. I think it's going to be a close game. But just me, I'm just saying this. I'm still not sold on John Mateer and the hype of Oklahoma. I think they're going to be improved, but I also think Auburn's going to be improved. And you should have beat them last year. You were beating them convincingly. Let's not act like Auburn didn't dominate that game. You just gave it away. Auburn was dominating Oklahoma for 50 out of 60 minutes? For 50 out of the 60 minutes, you dominated Oklahoma, and you found a way to lose the game. So I think you go out there. I think you're hot at 3-0. I think you go to 4-0. All right? I think you go to 4-0. At Texas A&M. Yep, you're right. The weakest link. You're right. The pick six in the fourth quarter killed us. It did. It did. How is Oklahoma's defense? They're going to be all right, Karen. They're going to be okay. They're going to play really physical. They're always great at the linebacker spot. DBs is a question. Like, I haven't really looked at Oklahoma as a whole, But DB for me at Oklahoma has always been a question. I don't know how good they're going to be right there, but BV, Brent Venables is going to have a defense, and they're not coming lightly. Like, he's always going to be strapped up and ready. So I fully expect the Oklahoma defense to be really, really good. Yeah. They're always going to have. He's always going to have a good defense, man. So look, I think Auburn starts 4-0. I really do. I think you start 4-0. I think you got some steam. And you start 1-0 in the Southeastern Conference. Then I think you run into a little bit of a buzzsaw. I think you go at Texas A&M. I think you drop that one. Now, I know we beat them last year. Okay? Y'all know how I feel about Texas A&M. I'm not a fan. I don't think they're ever going to be good. I'm not one of these media heads that jumps on here and says, "Oh, this is Texas A&M year. They're a sleeping giant. They're the greatest team in college football history." I don't know where we get that from. I don't even know who started it. Okay? I don't. It kind of ticks me off when people get off on this Texas A&M crap. It is. It's a cult, bro. It's a cult. It is a cult. Vandy. So I think you run into a little bit of a buzzsaw, and we don't usually play well at Kyle Field in recent years. Well, the weakest link, we were for a little bit, and then we kind of got off track. And you're right. That's the reason I have us dropping this game, is because we as of late we haven't played well there. It's looked out of sorts. We've been just behind in games there. We turn the ball over. We just don't look good. We play sloppy football at Kyle Field, and the crowd probably has a little bit to do with that, right? And they usually have a pretty decent product on the field. So I think they get us back. I think we drop one there. We're 4-1. Now we got Georgia at night, Jordan-Hare Stadium. Y'all, this could be one for the ages. I want to pick Auburn so bad in this game. In my heart, it tells me, hey, go with the Tigers. But I'm one of these people, as long as y'all have been following me on this show, I am one of those people where you got to show me before I pick you. And I cannot pick Auburn in this spot until they show me. Do I think Auburn can win this football game? Yes. Does Gunnar Stockton scare me? No. Got to go make the plays. Closing time is going to present itself in this matchup, and you have to go make the plays to win this game. And that's all I'll say about it. Auburn will have a chance to win this football game, but can they make the plays late? I'm taking Georgia here. Auburn 4-2, 1-2 in the SEC. Now, I think you come back. You got a home game against Missouri. Auburn dub. You should have beat Missouri last year. They lose their best two players. They're probably going to have a pretty solid defense. Yes, they went and got a portal QB. Bo Perbula, I think, from Penn State or whatever. I know he's athletic. I know he's kind of like a Diego Pavi, runs around and makes plays with his legs and all that good stuff. I think you get Missouri. I don't think you lose to them back-to-back years. I think you get them at Jordan-Hare Stadium in front of a raucous crowd. I think you're going to be getting after it there. So what do you go? You go 5-2, 2-2 in the SEC, and then you go to Arkansas. This one's payback. This is a business trip. This needs to be exactly like it was 2 years ago, and this needs to be a tail whooping. You need to go out there and handle business. We should have the weakest link. We should have. And look, I know a lot of people get on Hugh about that Missouri game last year, and they're like, oh, Hugh didn't. No, look, if Robert Lewis catches the football in the back of the end zone, we beat Missouri. Players have got us. That's what I mean by stepping up in closing time and making plays. Yes, was coaching out of sorts and out of whack the first 2 years? Yes. But we weren't having players step up and make plays to win football games. And that's got to change this year if you want to be great. So at Arkansas, guess what, folks? I think you beat Arkansas. I think you're 6-2. and I think you're 3-2 in the SEC. I think you're 3-2 in the SEC. You're 6-2, and you're 3-2 in the SEC. How do we feel about this so far? Because 6-2, 3-2 in the SEC, I think you're at a point where it silences a lot of doubters, and I think this fan base is rocking. I think it'll take you back to the Ole Miss in 2021. I think it'll take you back to that game where that was the last time that Jordan Hare was really, really rocking. The vibes were high. You got to roll Toomer's corner that night, and you really felt confident in where your football team was at. So I would feel great to be 6-2 and 3-2 in the Southeastern Conference. Then you got Kentucky. Look, Kentucky's not good. You should pound Kentucky. You should just beat the living mess out of them. You did it last year. There's no reason you shouldn't do it this year. They're going to have Zach Calzada, the former great Auburn Tiger. Look, there's no reason why you shouldn't be 7-2. There's no reason why you shouldn't be 7-2 and 4-2 in the SEC. Now, toss-up game, and y'all might want to laugh at me. You might want to go say, "Oh, Blake, you're crazy." Toss-up game at Vandy. You can call me crazy all you want. The guy's got your number. This is a show me. This is a show me game. You got to prove it to me. You've got to prove it to me. You got to show me on the field. Now, I'm going to pick Auburn to beat Vanderbilt. But you got to show me. You got to prove it to me. He's been a thorn in your side for 2 seasons, and he's got Hugh Freeze's number. Now, yes, you shut him down last year in Jordan Hare Stadium. He's not the reason Vanderbilt won that football game. But you have to go up there. You got to take another business trip, and you have to pound Vanderbilt and say, hey, all that BS you've been talking for the past 2 years is payback time. We got dogs over here now. We got guys that are ready to whoop tail, and you got to go get it done. And I also think you got the freaks to run him around, run him down, and go get after him, pin their ears back, and go get Diego Pavia. You might have been lacking that the past couple years. Mercer at home. Look, let's cut the chit chat. You're gonna go into the Iron Bowl 9-2, in my opinion. You're gonna go into the Iron Bowl 9-2. What you say? Auburn 5-2 in the SEC, 9-2, 9-2 going into the Iron Bowl at home. I'm not gonna sit here and pick Auburn to beat Alabama, though. You can get mad at me all you want to. I'm not gonna do it until you show me. You got to show me, dog. You got to show me. You got to show me. I got Auburn 9-3. I think this is the year Hugh Freeze turns it around. I'm not picking Auburn to beat Alabama because I have seen 99-yard drives. I have seen 4th and goal from the 31. I've seen 2009 where Upchurch out of the backfield and McElroy. I can't do it. I have seen it too many times. You have got to show me. It's the same way with Georgia. It's the same way with Georgia. But the way you look at this Auburn schedule, and I think even though if we lost to Georgia and Alabama, even if we lost to both of them again, I think if you come out of this thing 9-3, you were ecstatic as an Auburn fan. You were through the roof because guess what? You're going to come out of this and you're going to say, hey, we were in the running. You were in the final weekend of college football being talked about. You were in the running being talked about in the college football playoff. And that is what Hugh Freeze has asked. That is what Hugh Freeze has asked. We will pick Bama for you. Key said you have PTSD. Hey, look, I want to do it so bad. I want to, and I want to bug, and I want to do it. I really do. but you got to show me first. I'm from Missouri, baby. I'm from the show me state, and you got to show me. You got to show me. Don't get it twisted. Can Auburn win the football game? Yes, I think Auburn is gonna be right there in it. But you got to show me. You got to show me closing time. But what I was saying is 9-3. You're in the college football playoff hunt. You're in the discussion. That is what Hugh has asked. That is what he said. Hey, we just want to get this fan base back in the discussion. We want to get this program back in the light of college football greatness. And then if you come off of that and go into year 4, I think that's when we really dig in and we say, okay, now it's different. Now we're back into the conversation. We're back to the Auburn of old. I told y'all the other night, my buddy texted me and he was like, why are Auburn's expectations so high? And I was like, well, we're a top 15 program in college football history. Why wouldn't our expectations be that high? Why wouldn't Auburn's expectations be that high? You've won a national championship. You got the crystal ball to show it. You've got Bo Jackson. You've got Pat Sullivan. You've got the greats. You've got Cam Newton. You've got the greats, man. You've got the great coach of Pat Dye. Why wouldn't Auburn's expectations be that high? And he was like, well, you haven't put together that many good seasons here lately. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, right back at you, brother. Go look at Alabama from 1997 to 2007. They only had a couple good seasons through that 10-year stretch. Auburn's just going through that little span of time right now. And it happens. It happened. Poor Tennessee. Y'all, I told y'all the other night about Tennessee. Hell, they went 15 to almost 20 years without being relevant. It happens. And they're one of the great teams that built this conference. It's just, look at Florida. Florida fell off the face of the earth for a little while. They're slowly starting to get back. They're slowly starting to build some momentum. But after Tebow, they were dead in their rights. You're right. You're right. We've been to 2 natties, man. We've been to 2 natties in 15 years, and we should have won both of them, all right? We did win one in 2010, and we choked one away in 2013. I'm tired of people acting just like Auburn is just dead. They're just, oh, it's over with. Look at Nebraska the past year. Yes, like it happens. It is. Look at Miami. Look at Miami. That's another program I could say, hey, man, Miami was a dominant program in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And they went on a streak where they just couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything. They even, when they joined the ACC, man, they still couldn't do anything. It happens like that. And it's going to eventually happen to Alabama. It's going to happen. It's a cycle, man. College football is a cycle. Tennessee still isn't relevant. They've gotten fortunate they didn't have to play Auburn. That's a fact, Keith. That's a fact. Look, one thing about Tennessee is last year, I felt like they really weren't that good. Yes, they made the playoffs, but like I put it on TikTok, the 12-team playoff to me, there's too many teams in the playoff, and I just feel like them going to Ohio State, they were going to get wrecked, and people were like, oh, yeah, Tennessee's got a chance to win that game, and I was like, yeah, I don't think they do, man, so, and they went up there and got blasted. I just didn't think their offense was that good. Notre Dame hasn't won squat in 40 years. That's a fact. Since old what's his name, old Daffy Duck, Lou Holtz, and really and truly, back then you watched them and Notre Dame documentaries on the 30 for 30s and all that. There was some questionable calls in that game when they played each other, and who knows if you got replay back then, if they even win that one. So. I do dig Notre Dame's uniforms. A lot of people think I'm crazy about that, but Notre Dame's uniforms, to me, I love them, especially the white top with the gold pants and the gold helmet. I love it, but nothing beats Auburn's Stormtroopers, and I can't wait to see I can't wait to see the Nike Stormtroopers. Criminals versus the Catholics. Yeah, bro. Yeah, those are great. The ESPN 30 for 30s are great. I even like the SEC story, the Iron Bowl, the Roll Tide War Eagle thing. I thought that was great. That just kind of showed you like a little bit of the rivalry and what actually happens in the rivalry. And when I go on other podcasts, that's one of the first things they ask me, like, what's the Iron Bowl like? And I'm just like, it's really hard to put into words. If you don't live here, you don't really know. And I've been here for 34 years, going on 35 years, and you have to pick. And then if you don't pick either one of them, neither one of them like you. And so it's really difficult living in the state of Alabama with Alabama and Auburn fans. And that's why I hold the game not to the same standard, is because you're not from the same state. So Michigan and Ohio State, that loses a little bit of luster for me. It's like Texas and Oklahoma. I get the rivalry. I understand why it's a rivalry, but you're not from the same state. And so it takes a little bit of the juice away from me. And that's why I hold the Iron Bowl. Like Paul Feinbaum said, he said it's like the Israelites and the Palestinians living amongst each other for 364 days, and on the last day of the year they play each other. And he said it freezes on Thanksgiving weekend. He said time freezes because they have to play each other. So I would love for Auburn to win that football game, 10-2. Keith, I think that would be amazing. If Auburn was to go 10-2, they beat Alabama, they get into the college football playoff. If Auburn goes to the college football playoff, I don't care if it's an 11 seed. I don't care if it's dang 12 seed. I do not care. If Auburn makes it to the college football playoff, we're going bananas. We're going crazy. Now, I think you go 9-3. I think you go 5-3 in the SEC. I think that's a drastic jump. I think you would be ecstatic with Auburn going 9-3 and 5-3 in the SEC. Going to Oklahoma and winning that game, getting revenge, going to Arkansas, getting revenge on what happened last year, beating the mess out of Kentucky, getting revenge on Missouri, getting revenge on Vandy at Vandy. Man, you look at some of those things, there's a lot of opportunity for the Auburn Tigers. I think it all starts at Baylor. I've told y'all that 1,000 times. That's the biggest game of the year to me. It is the biggest game of the year, the first week of the season. You got to get off on the right foot. If the best thing you've got going here is your uniform, I'll tell you all this. I had a coach tell me back in the day. He said, Blake, you want to know why Notre Dame struggles? He said, you want to know why Notre Dame struggles on the big stage and why they get dominated when they play really elite teams like the USCs back in the early 2000s, and when they played Alabama in the early 2010s, and even last year when they played Ohio State. They recruit a certain athlete. It's kind of like Duke in basketball, where they just don't go for the certain athlete. They don't do it. And it's like your ACT has to be a certain score, and they're like really high on academics, and you have to carry yourself a certain way and everything. You got the Southeastern Conference, man, where they're like, hey, we got tutors, baby. We got people that'll help you with grades. We can make it happen. All right. And so my coach used to tell me, he's like, so every time they get out athleted, it's like Gonzaga in basketball. It's like Gonzaga in basketball. Everybody hypes up Gonzaga. They're like, oh, Gonzaga, this is the year, man. They got Drew Timme. They're going all the way. And then they get in the Final Four, and it's like, hey, bing bong. You ain't got the athletes, cuz. We got some dudes that can jump a little higher than Drew Timme. All right? We got some dudes that got a smoother stroke from three than Nemhard does. Like, we got some dudes. We got some cats. You get out-athleted. And I had a coach tell me that back in high school. He's just like, hey, I'm going to hit you with it straight up. He's like, you want to hear it? I'll hit you with it. They get out-athleted. And It's the truth. It's the truth. No dreadlocks and mohawks. Hey, that's it. That's it. Ain't no Tyrann Mathieu walking the halls of Notre Dame. And that's just, But one thing I will give him is Marcus Freeman. I think he's a hell of a coach. I know we're getting a little bit off track, but I think Marcus Freeman's a hell of a coach. I think he's putting a great product on the field, and I think he's doing a wonderful job. I was really shocked that the matchup between last year with Ohio State and Notre Dame, like I thought if Ryan Day lost that game, Marcus Freeman would go to Ohio State and coach at his alma mater. He played there, played linebacker there, all that stuff. I thought he was destined for that job because they kept saying that Ryan Day was on his way out. But anyway, I know we got off on the rabbit. We went down the rabbit hole. We got off on uniforms and talking about Notre Dame and Miami and all these teams, whatever. But Auburn, I think they're a 9-3 football team, y'all. You can't tell me that after everything that happened last year and the way you saw what went down, and if you correct those mistakes, if Jackson Arnold can come in and be a serviceable quarterback, we're not asking him to put up Heisman numbers. We're not asking him to go to New York. We're not asking him to be the top 2 passers in the SEC. We're not asking any of that. We're just asking you not to turn the ball over in crunch time. We're asking you to be prepared on 4th and 1, to know what is supposed to be called, to run the right play, to set the protection, whatever you got to do. Be on the same page. Be on the same page as your teammates and as your coach. That is what we're asking. And that is something that we haven't had the last 2 years. So I think this Auburn team's different. Cam Coleman's going to be a star. Man, I think Eric Singleton Jr. is going to be a star. I think this defense is going to be absolutely freaky. I got them 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. And I think that checks out to be one hell of a year for the Auburn Tigers. So last year reminded me a lot of 2009, a lot of close losses with some inexperienced players. They make those plays this season. I tell you what, speaking of 2009, if Jackson Arnold can just be somewhat of a Chris Todd type leader, Auburn's cooking. Auburn is cooking. And I said that about Peyton Thorne. I said if Peyton can just give you, if he could just give you somewhat of a Chris Todd, just be halfway to Chris Todd and the guy that he was, the leader, how he put it on the line. But give me a Brandon Cox, man. Give me a dog, somebody that puts it on the line for his team, for his university. Like, that's what I want. I want that dog. What's up, C? How you doing, brother? War Damn Eagle. That's why I don't see anything under 9 wins. I really don't. And I know a lot of people are going to call me crazy. Like, oh, Blake, you're bugging. Look, I'm always going to bug for my team, all right? Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to wear the orange and blue glasses all the time. But when it comes for prediction time on the schedule, I'm going to bug a little bit for my team. Christian, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you becoming a member tonight. Much love, much love. I saw it earlier, had to scroll back to it, brother. We appreciate you a heck of a lot over here, and we're getting this thing rolling, man. We're starting to grow each and every night. So, what you got? Brandon Cox. Heck yeah, bro. What you don't like Brandon Cox? What you got against Brandon Cox, Brett? Or were you saying like another guy? Like you were throwing, like I was saying Chris Todd, you were throwing out Brandon Cox. Is that what you were doing? If you think about it, Auburn has never had a bad season with a mobile QB. That's true. I used to I play around. Okay, another guy. I play around on Facebook a lot, and I kind of like I troll a lot on Facebook, and I joke around. Brandon Cox was a warrior. You're right, Keith. He's one of my favorites of all time. Just I know he lost some games and everything, and there was some questionable performances, but one thing that you could never question was his heart for Auburn. You could never question what he was going to do every Saturday, man. He put his body on the line for Auburn, and I will never, ever forget him. Was Kyle Frazier considered a mobile QB? He was. That's one that just never panned out, man. Had so much promise and never panned out. Oh, dude, we were cooking. Tubbs, mm, mm. We could go back to them. Mm, mm. We could go back to them seasons and talk about some stuff, man. I might do that. Like as the season gets here, I might go back to some of those seasons and just look at some of the losses we had and talk about them. That's a great that's an idea right there. Me and Brett were kind of talking about that earlier. Brett texted me about something, and that just kind of proves that we could reel that one off, Brett. We could do it. We could do it. That'd be pretty cool. I think that would be pretty cool. Go back to a couple of those seasons that shoot, you look at 06, man, and mm, that could have been a natty year. That could have been a trophy. I know Florida won it, but that could have been a trophy. That's painful to even think about. So, but I think if you look at a season like that, that's kind of what you want Auburn to have this year, where you look back at it and you're like, dang, man, what a season. Like there was some highs, there was some road bumps, like there was some hiccups, but it was a fun season. It was a fun season. Jordan Hare needs a 2006 Florida type of game. Get some of that Auburn magic back. That's what I'm saying, Keith. That's what I'm saying, man. We need that magic back. We need that sauce. Oh, we need. That's why I threw up the 2021 Ole Miss game. I was in Jordan Hare that night, and that was the last time that I've actually been excited to go to Jordan Hare and like felt like my team was going to dominate a football game. I've been back a couple times since, and I never really felt like my team was going to dominate. It was up in the air if we were even going to win the football game. And I hate that feeling at Jordan Hare because it shouldn't be like that. It's one of the most dominant places in the country to play. And I wanted to get back to that. I really do. So y'all heard it here, 9-3. Everybody, appreciate you. If you become a member, that's awesome. There will be a lot of content coming up when we get some recruits. There will be some videos up on that. We got a couple coming now, so don't fall asleep on recruiting just yet. Stay locked in. We got a couple coming. Things are gonna get exciting, and we're gonna have a really fun time over here in the next couple of weeks before we get to kickoff. So become a member, check them out, check the packages out and everything. I'm gonna have a graphic up here soon within the next week or so about that, and you can see what's available. And then if you get the elite package, the Kick Six Elite package, we're gonna get you on the show, and we're gonna get some topics, kind of like Brett gave me a while ago, and we're gonna have some fun with it, man. We're gonna just grind this thing out and make it a blast for everybody. We're gonna become one big community. So I'm excited. Kickoff's almost here. We're ready. War Damn Eagle. I will see y'all probably Friday. Don't hold me to that. Friday. Daniel, come on, dog. I'm closing it out. And as I'm closing it out, here you come. Brother, what are you doing? All right. You come into the thing today. You come into the video today in the comment section and you say we're getting blown out by Auburn. You're an Alabama fan. You're undercover op, brother. All right. You can say all this stuff about, oh, well, I'm a Auburn fan. I hate Georgia. No, you're either an Alabama fan or you're a Georgia fan because you're always on some. I look. I have my questions about Auburn, but I don't down Auburn the way you do. All right, and it's become a problem. It's become a problem. Why do you want your team to go 6-6? I understand that you want to be, accurate or right. Why do you even want to? I never want to project my team to go 500 ever. I even see some Mississippi State podcasts. There was a guy out there the other day. He was like, man, what if Mississippi State gets to 8 wins? Now, I chuckled, and I was like, it was funny to me. But I can see him running a Mississippi State podcast, and I say, yeah, dog, like he don't want to see his team go 5-7 or 4-8. Like he wants to have a glimpse of hope of his team going 8-4. Is Mississippi State going 8-4? No. That's why he threw it out. Could Mississippi State go 8-4? Could they get to 8 wins? I just don't want to do the whole 6-6 thing because I look at Auburn as having a higher standard. That 6-6 is not Auburn's standard. 7-5 is not Auburn's standard. It's higher than that. A bad year is 8-4 at Auburn. A solid year, 9-3. When Auburn gets into those 10s, man, that's when we're ecstatic. We're ready to compete for championships. That's not the standard. So, Daniel, we got to get better, man. I thought we were getting a little bit better. I thought we were starting to climb the mountain a little bit, and then here you go, trickling back down. These last 2 videos ain't been for you, brother. So, appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'll probably see y'all Friday. Probably drop a video there. Oh, we're almost there, y'all. I keep saying it. We're almost there. The countdown to kickoff is here. The Auburn Tigers going 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. Book it, baby. I'm out. I'll see y'all this week. War down, baby.